Why are you leaving early? Day early?
Well, we had planned to leave early just because of this summer, just when we did our travel, because the time difference, altitude difference. I wanted to make sure we practiced in New Mexico on Friday, since it's a 2 o'clock game. If it was an 8 o'clock game, we could have flown out Friday morning and practiced. But since we're going to practice at 11 o'clock out there Friday, we thought it would be best to leave on Thursday, just get a chance to get adjusted as best we can, with the time change, but more importantly, the altitude.
What do you remember from last year's game, the way that ended?
I remember all 40 minutes. More importantly, I remember the first half where we couldn't have played better defense, and we just couldn't make a shot inside of 6 feet. And it's hard to win when you can't score. You got to get the ball in the basket. Big part of the game. You hold a team that, like New Mexico, who's a potent offensive team, to 55 points, you should win the game. But when we didn't get the ball in the basket. So I think both teams are very different this year. They're scoring a lot more possessions in their game versus if you look at their possession adjusted tempo stuff from last year. Same with us. We're both like +5 in adjusted tempo. It's a little bit technical for you, but
what is it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's basically possessions in your games. How many possessions you would have. It's a variable on Ken Pomeroy's stats. You look at how fast you play, how quick you shoot the ball, the tempo of your games in general. So it'll be interesting to see, how this game plays out. But that being said, they're hard to score on inside because they're big. Mm-hmm. Kirk and Barstow are big guys, and they're very effective defenders with the way they use their body, and they can block shots. So, and the way their defense is structured to really protect the paint, you're going to have to make some shots to beat them.
When you look at their stats, you just wonder how they've lost any games, and yet UMass beat them fairly handily. How did they do that?
They scored. UMass got a lot in transition, got a lot off the pick and roll. UMass got one of the quickest point guards in the country. I think their speed was a big factor in the game. And the game was also a day after they played a double overtime game, so they were probably a little bit fatigued. New Mexico's not the deepest team in the country. Now, I think starting 5, they're probably a top 10 team in the country as far as matching up starting 5 versus starting 5. That's how experienced their 5-man unit is and the talent level. And Kendall Williams, Barstow, and Kirk are all going to play for money, whether it's Division I in Spain or in the NBA. Those guys can all really play. So it'll be interesting to see if our depth can be a factor, if our bench can be a factor, and hopefully our speed can be a factor, because Kirk and Barstow have really got tremendous size and girth advantage on us. Justin and Titus play behind those guys. You won't be able to see them.
I was going to say, it's going to be a real challenge for Justin to play against Kirk, which I assume if he's playing 5.
Kirk's a guy that can make threes as well. They're an offensive team. They're a very effective offensive team because they can score in different ways. Their big guys can score inside and out. And Kendall Williams, one of the best guards in the country, but they're at the 4 and 5 position. They're probably the highest scoring tandem in the country for a 4 and 5 man on the front line. Just off the top of my head, those guys can really put the ball in the basket. So not just for Justin, but for Titus, Jermaine Lawrence as well.
When you put Williams in there, they got 3 guys averaging 19 or more.
Yeah, and that's those guys are all going to play professionally. So hopefully we can get into their bench, try to make it a game of attrition, try to make it a game of speed. But they're well coached, and they got some veteran guys. Greenwood's a big. He's a big factor for them, although his numbers aren't great. He's a very crafty veteran player with a lot of international experience. He and Barstow with the Australian national team. So those guys are pretty savvy competitors. They know what they're doing.
Is their approach much different with the new coach, even though he was there last year?
No, I think Noodle's a very close friend of mine, and he's was fortunate to be with Steve, one of his best friends. You know, they were co-coaching that team, and Steve's a great coach, so he was very comfortable with letting Noodles help him. You know, in that you could see him calling plays during the game. I think that any difference in their team would be that Tony Snell was not on their team. They ran a lot of plays for Tony Snell. He was a first-round pick of the Bulls in the draft last year. So they ran a lot of screens for Snell because he could really shoot the basketball. The difference in this year is Barstow and Kirk are focal points of their offense. They're running a lot of stuff for their big guys. Where last year they ran a lot more. Those guys were more screeners than they were offensive threats.
As a team that presses as much as you want to press, and do you have a little bit more liberal substitution pattern because of the altitude just to keep guys fresh?
I don't know how you can be more liberal with our substitution pattern. You know, I think it would be tough to be more liberal. I don't think we played a guy over 30 minutes in the last two games, so you know, we'll see.
Jeremiah Davis, what's he been going through with his family?
Oh, it's just tough. You know, it's just a tough. Right now, he's got basketball's the furthest thing from his mind. You know, I've told him if you want to take a leave of absence, you know, whatever, if you want to be here. Like, so he's want to be, or he's been around, but he hasn't really been practicing.
Oh, really?
I mean, he's been here, but he hasn't really been in practice. It's just really, it's hard to put yourself in his situation, what he's gone through. You got a very close family, and all of a sudden you lose everything material, and what his parents are going through, fighting insurance companies. You know, he's unfortunately he's extremely smart, and he has a lot of conversations with his parents about all the minutia and that they're going through with, unfortunately, what you got to deal with insurance companies and just all the unfortunate things.
Has he not practiced at all?
He's not. He's been, you know, shooting drills, but I just told him, buddy, you just do what you're comfortable with, man. And let me know how I can help.
And when you said if you want to take a leave of absence, you can't. Obviously, he wants to be around.
Well, he's got to go to class too as well. So,
Okay.
you know, we're coming up on the last day of class here Friday, and finals next week. But it hasn't been easy on him. Basketball's the furthest thing from his mind right now.